Saudi Arabia has successfully abolished its decades-old Kafala system, and this landmark decision marks a historic step towards labor welfare and workers' rights across the kingdom. The move aligns with one of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's Vision 2030, which aims to modernize the economy and enhance global competitiveness. Now, this is of particular significance to India because the reform is expected to impact nearly 13 million migrant workers, and that includes more than 2.5 million Indians who form a massive chunk of the Saudi workforce. So what exactly was this regressive system that turned so many Indians literally into slaves? Kafala translates to sponsorship in Arabic and defines the power dynamic between foreign employees and their employers. It was something that was developed in the 1950s. The system tied a migrant worker's legal residency and employee status directly to their employer or sponsor, and that sponsor is called a kafil. This gave employers excessive control, including the power to decide if workers could actually change jobs, if they could leave the country, or even file complaints, legal complaints. Over time, for obvious reasons, the system became a tool of exploitation and of abuse. Employers often confiscated passports, delayed wages, restricted movement, and denied the right to change jobs, and there was no action that was possible against them. There were many international organizations, including the Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International, that labeled this as a form of modern-day slavery. The impact was particularly harsh on domestic workers, many of whom faced overwork, emotional and even physical abuse, and months without pay, and there was nothing they could do about it, not even leave or change jobs. And that's why this change is so important. Saudi Arabia relies heavily on foreign labor, with an estimated 13.4 million migrant workers employed in sectors such as construction, hospitality, and domestic work. A large portion of these workers come from India, from Bangladesh, the Philippines, and Nepal. Now, the International Labour Organization and several rights groups have long urged Saudi to reform the Kafala system. And now, by abolishing it, Saudi Arabia aims to improve its international image as a fair and ethical employer in line with global labour standards. This reform is also expected to make Saudi Arabia more attractive for foreign investment and therefore encourage the inflow of skilled labour essential for its goals. So now what changes? Under the new contract-based employment framework, workers can change jobs without needing their employer's permission. They can exit the country without requiring an exit visa or, for that matter, sponsor consent, which was the need earlier. They can also get access to courts and legal protection more freely to seek justice if there's any case of workplace abuse or dispute. So it's complete opposite of what existed previously. Now, while this reform represents a significant step forward, experts note that obviously implementation will take time and abuse is not going to disappear overnight. Critics argue that domestic workers remain vulnerable as recruitment-related exploitation and informal employment practices often fall outside the scope of labour law reforms. In a sense, Saudi Arabia's decision marks a turning point in labour rights for millions of migrant workers. But there are other Gulf nations which still practice this modern-day slavery. The Kafala system is still active across the Gulf, including the UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain and Oman, and in places like Lebanon and Jordan in slightly tweaked forms.